Australia. Well, the company, they're based in Australia, but I've never been there. I wouldn't make it to Australia. Then she admits that she's been to Tahiti. I want you to look at a map. I want you to tell me how you could make it to Tahiti, but somehow you try to imply, oh, I could never make it as
That
far
other
as
4
Australia.
extra hours. I think to here to Tahiti is probably, 17, 18 hours or something like that. The longest flight is Australia, but that's like 24 hours or something. I don't know what she
No,
was saying.
I don't.
But
no,
where's
I
the
don't-
lie? She said she went to Tahiti.
That's
and
what
she
I'm
didn't go to
saying.
Australia. Is there evidence that she went to Australia? I haven't seen
That's
any.
not-
It's
that's
not the point.
that's-
It's
no.
not the point. It's the point that she's saying that she doesn't travel.
She's implying, under oath, that she could not make it to Australia because her fear of flying is so great. No, she flies all the time, yes, but her fear of flying and her claustrophobia is so great that she would not make it to Australia. But then she admits she's been to Tahiti. If you can make it to Tahiti, you'll make it to Australia. There's no question.
Well,
about
then we might as well throw out all of her testimony then, because there's a detail about how far she could make it
No,
on a
I guess
plane
we
to
should just not
Australia.
point out any discrepancies.
It's
I
just
guess
not
we
really
should just say
that.
we feel like she's credible, and she's not credible. You just
She
heard
is
it.
credible to
But
me.
she,
I think
Garland,
she's credible.
Garland, she
And a
did.
lot of people think she's credible.
Garland, she actually said her motive. Her motive was to let everybody know, if you were going to have this person as Supreme Court judge, that he is allegedly raped me, or he has been misconduct, have
Assaulted.
done misconduct.
I think that's a-
So she said out of her own mouth, this is why she did it. She did it because she wanted everybody
That's why I
to
said
know.
that was her
And she-
motivation.
that was her
admirable.
motivation.
That's
And
admirable.
I don't see a problem with
I
that.
think
but
that's admirable.
But I do see a problem. Well, I don't see a problem with that, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it feels like a Democratic witch hunt. It feels kind of weird because, like you said, the Democrats are not really into this type of snarkiness, but they are, and it seems kind of
Good.
weird, though. It seems kind of weird how they are attacking, like, even with Harris, she was like, I believe you. You're taking, sides already. You're supposed to be here judging. You're saying, I believe
And
you.
have you been following the
Good.
Wait, let's
It's about time they learned how to stand up with some spines
I
or
mean-
something.
No, you know what they
Letting the
should.
Republicans do all the dirty work.
You know
while
what?
they
You're
wander
right,
around
Garland.
like
I'm
a
glad
bunch
they
of
did this
wussies.
to Bernie too. You know what? It's just
They did it to
politics,
Bernie,
man.
too.
It's just
Yeah,
politics.
it is.
It is just politics.
It is.
So why do you complain about it?
Well, I complain because I like to complain.
Good. So go back
Wow.
to the
You know,
Democratic
I'm kind
Party.
of bored.
Hey,
Holly's here.
Garland,
She's pretty. I can look at her.
Go back.
Hey,
You're
that's
part
good.
of the
Thank you.
establishment, man. Every argument you're making could be so what? So what?
I believe it. I believe it.
No one
when I
asked
watch
you.
this
It's
guy flipping
dangerous,
out,
though.
I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's.
It's
Okay,
scary.
let's hear him flipping out. Let's hear
Yeah, I
his
need to
opening
hear-
statement.
roll that clip.
Let's hear emotion. Let's hear
his
him.
opening statement. Get him yelling at Dianne Feinstein. Get that
We'll
clip.
Eric to get that.
Okay.
So I hear nothing.
I think they had a pretty good grasp of Judge Kavanaugh.
So but Holly, you just made the eyebrow shocked face. Did that sound like somebody who's emotionally unhinged
I didn't
and
say
out
it
of
did.
That
out of
particular
control?
clip isn't really what the clip that he's
That wasn't
talking
what I was talking
about.
about
That's
anyway.
not the clip that he's talking about. It
Okay,
doesn't,
but you just said it proves your point. I didn't say it. You just said it. You
What
said
are you
that
talking-
proves your point.
that didn't
You-
prove any.
That didn't prove anything, Garland. So let's find the clip of Dianne Feinstein. See, here's the thing about the difference between me and you. I like evidence. So what I do is, from the evidence, I say to Eric, great, let's get the clip of Dianne Feinstein.
No, right. I'm all for it too.
No, you're
I'm
not.
all for it.
You're-
Now, don't tell me what I'm for.
I
Look,
heard you
did
laugh.
you hear that, Holly? I said, I'm all for it. And this is Lee's answer. No, you're not. Well, I just said I'm for it.
When I was calling
No,
for this
you're not.
before, when I said let's get a clip,
It's a madman.
you said I don't need a clip. That's what you said.
That is true. You
No,
didn't
I
say
already
you
got
needed-
I've watched it in person. I personally don't. Look, if you're trying to convince somebody else, play the clip. I already know.
Gee, why would I try to
guy and
convince
I'm like,
somebody
yeah,
else on
he's
a
kook.
radio show, Garland? Gee, why would on a radio show I try to make a point that proves it? This is why I say you talking about your feelings. It just doesn't.
I'm not talking about my feelings. I'm
That's
talking about
what
what
you-
I believe, what I am convinced of. It's just like a jury. A jury watches it and they are convinced of something. And at that point, they're convinced of it.
You're
That's
more
what the jury
convinced. You're
watched
more
it.
convinced of his conduct than you are convinced of the actual trial itself of having proof. To me, it's scary as having sons and friends and a lot of guy friends.
Right.
It's scary to me that my guy friend can get accused of something 30 years later and with no evidence. That's a little scary for me. I just think that I know that sometimes people are scared to say things that happen, but you know, this is what I want to encourage to the women or anything that's looking out there. If you are in this, let's just take this as a lesson. These things happen, fight back. And if you can't fight back physically at that time, fight back by filing a report immediately. Fall back by telling somebody or something like that. Don't allow these things to go on and then 30 years later while
There's
somebody's
another
chopping up,
issue
don't do
here.
that.
I'll bring this up. And in defense of a lot of women who don't file complaints, right? There are a lot of reasons about it. And I've seen instances where I knew something happened and the woman was not going to complain. I've seen a couple of those. And now think about this. You got a young girl, 16, 17, whatever, right? She's at a party she's not supposed to be at. People are drinking. You're not supposed to be there. Then something bad happens. And for you to go home to tell your parents this happened, and you're not supposed to be
That's
there,
not
and
the-
people
I
are
get
drinking
it.
and all that. In my opinion, those are the types of things that cause women to say, I'm not going to tell. It's embarrassed.
Tell
it's
your friend,
humiliated,
tell
they
your
can get in
girlfriend,
trouble.
tell your
So
girlfriend,
everything.
She didn't tell
always,
anybody,
I'll
though.
let me end by saying this. I'm always the first to defend women who don't like go to the police and make a big deal of it because it's a humiliating affair, and I understand how some women could look at that and say, I just feel like it ain't worth it.
Well,
And
tell
then
your
they suffer even
cousins,
worse
tell
because
somebody
nobody
you
pays
know.
the price.
Tell your cousins, tell your guy friends, tell a friend that may know them to say, hey, this is what he did to me. And you know, you have seen him before plenty of times. You haven't seen him to say, I don't want him being a judge. I don't want him being a lawyer. I don't, you know what I mean? You didn't say you don't want him representing people or doing that. Now he's in the Supreme Court and you say, you know, I need to tell you about this guy so
Right.
he's not the head of the Supreme Court.
The
He's
fact
been a
that you're bringing-
judge.
It makes sense, though.
Even the fact that you're bringing up that it came up in 2012
Yep.
is just flippin' weird.